Have you ever walked away from someone feeling horrible about yourself? And immediately you start worrying about what you did wrong, assuming it must be your fault? For people pleasers, blaming ourselves is the automatic response. And while this showed up strongest for me in my third marriage, this pattern can show up with bosses, coworkers, friends, family, not just romantic partners. And looking back, I can now see how my people-pleasing behaviors made me really vulnerable in this situation. Always over-giving, over-explaining, shape-shifting, and becoming whoever I thought they needed me to be. In this video, I'm walking through the biggest lessons I learned, the narcissistic traits I didn't even know existed, how I responded as a people pleaser, and what I now know healthy actually looks like. But the biggest lessons I learned weren't about him, they were about me, about why I was trying to earn love, acceptance, and worth from outside of myself in the first place. The first trait or lesson that I learned about someone with narcissistic personality disorder, and remember that this disorder is not reserved for romantic relationships. But the first lesson I learned is that this type of person will put you on a pedestal. They will what's called love bomb you. This is their entry point, and this is how they hook you. Love bombing or idealization is them using a lot of compliments. They put you on a pedestal. They make you feel like you're the best thing since sliced bread. And it's this intense flattery early on. In a relationship like my marriage, he gave me a lot of gifts. He did a lot of things. He went out of his way to make me feel special. And he was constantly giving his time to me, which I thought initially was a good thing. Maybe it's a boss who repeatedly tells you that you are the best employee they've ever had. Or it's a new friend who immediately makes you their entire world. As a people pleaser, I soaked it up. I thought it was genuine, and it felt good to have all this attention given to me. I thought he was the most romantic man in the world, and that I was lucky to have found him, because that's what I thought I was looking for, and I thought that's what real love looked like. This made me minimize red flags, and I mistook his attention for love. I quickly gave up my time with friends in order to spend time with him. There was a weekend that I was invited to a scrapbooking retreat, and in a town where his family had a house. And so we went up for the weekend with the intention of me staying with my friends. And instead, when we got up there, he insisted that he drive me out to the place where they were and then pick me up later in the afternoon. And so I didn't get to spend that special time with friends over, a weekend that I had planned to. But I gave that up thinking that that was just a compromise that I needed to make for this new person in my life. What healthy actually looks like in this area is genuine love builds gradually. It's consistent, calm gestures over time, not this big flood of grand gestures early on. The praise feels genuine and not conditional, and there is a balance of time together and time apart. And I didn't have that. The second trait or lesson that I learned was that this type of person will find your weak spots or your fears, because eventually they are going to use them against you. So the love bombing is a tool they use to get you to open up and trust them. They ask you questions early on, deep questions early on. And I thought he was genuinely interested in my life and who I was. And I thought it was cool to have someone want to get to know me at such a deep level. What happens is later on, they end up using those things that you shared against you, maybe in an argument, and they do this repetitively. As a people pleaser, again, I opened up quickly and I shared a lot about my life and what I had been through, the things I had experienced, and the things that weren't such good experiences, right? I had been married twice before, and so had he. So I thought it was genuine interest in my life. It felt like a real connection, but I shared more than I should have before trust had actually been developed or earned. What healthy looks like in this area is that vulnerability is earned in layers. Trust is earned over time. A healthy person takes what you share with them and holds it with care, not to use as ammunition later. And you never have to wonder or experience your vulnerability being used against you. The third trait and lesson that I learned about this type of person is that they will lie and deceive habitually. Once they gain your trust in what we just talked about, then the deception starts underneath the surface. Maybe it's a coworker or boss who rewrites history in meetings, and it leaves you thinking, wait, did I completely misunderstand that conversation? Their words and their actions do not meet. They don't match. As a people pleaser, I made excuses for the inconsistencies. I covered up for him. I wanted to believe that the version that I fell in love with was who he actually was. And I started gaslighting myself, which I'm going to talk about shortly. I started convincing myself that I was misremembering or that I was overreacting. What healthy looks like in this area is that a trustworthy person's actions and behaviors match. They're consistent. You don't have to you're not going to start doubting that what they said and what they did were two different things. And you shouldn't have to audit a grown-ass adult. You shouldn't have to explain decent human behavior. The fourth lesson that I learned is that these people will isolate you and pit people against you. While the deception is building, they start pulling your support system out from underneath you. Maybe this is a friend who subtly talks you out of other friendships, telling you things about the other person that aren't true, but to make you stop trusting them or stop hanging out with them. Maybe it's a family member who creates so much drama that you end up becoming estranged from other people because those people don't want to be in your presence with that person around you. For me, my ex pitted me against my mom. He started calling her just to have casual conversations with her, but unbeknownst to me, he did it when I wasn't home. He did it in private because he was trying to hide something. He was trying to build up a relationship with her and get her pitted against me. And it started actually working. He also told me many times how much the people at my work disrespected me. We really had a good working relationship, but he started bringing up that they didn't respect me. And he started like throwing out these little things to make me start questioning, wait, am I not seeing how they are accurately? So as a people pleaser, I started pulling away from other people. I started questioning my relationships with other people, which is exactly what he wanted. And part of it was to keep the peace, because if I talked proudly about my relationship or openly about my work or my mom, I would get met with retaliation. And so it just became easier to diminish or to decrease the amount of time that I spent with those other people. Again, this is a tactic that they have to have you do that. If I did see my mom, I don't remember a time that he wasn't with me. So she and I couldn't continue to develop our relationship as mother-daughter without his interference. And again, maybe you stop trusting those other people, other friends, because of what this person has told you about them. Healthy people in your life are going to encourage you to have other relationships, to have friends, to do things outside of them, away from them. A genuine friend or family member isn't threatened by the time that you spend with other people. They're secure in that, in your relationship. And remember that isolation does not equal love. It equals control. The fifth lesson I learned about these people is that they set you up to start doubting yourself and to stop trusting your own judgment. They create confusion through what's called gaslighting and word salad. Gaslighting is a deliberate tactic to make you start questioning your own sanity, your perception, your reality. They deny facts. They might say, I didn't say that. That's not how it happened. You're being too sensitive. And they make you feel crazy for not understanding them. Word salad is this nonsensical talk. It's this circular talk. And it's like information overload. They're not using words to communicate with you. They're using words to confuse you. And it's designed to overwhelm you, to distract you, to exhaust you, because they are trying to avoid accountability and or blame. The purpose is to weaken you and to make you stop trusting your own judgment entirely. The tactic is confusion, and the goal is to destroy your self-trust for them in order for them to gain control. And now with your support system weakened, the gaslighting and the word salad can take root. It starts to land with you and you really start to doubt yourself. This is the place where you can really start feeling horrible about yourself, like you did something wrong, like you're the problem. And that's their goal, is to make you question your reality. You might find yourself explaining your feelings, defending yourself, and still walking away feeling more confused than ever. Like I said, you start wondering, am I the problem? And what's happening is your nervous system is recognizing that something's off. It puts you into fight or flight mode, and it raises your cortisol, which is a hormone that is going to keep you feeling anxious. And that's ultimately what they want. They want to keep you on edge. People pleaser responses are to over-explain, to apologize, to take the blame. And I started thinking, was I selfish? Was I too sensitive? Am I imagining this? Did this not really happen? In a healthy relationship, you can express how you feel about something and be heard. A healthy mentor or boss or friend is going to build your confidence, help you build your confidence. They interact with you in a way that doesn't create dependency. Their goal is for you to trust yourself more, not less. And you should never leave a conversation feeling like you're the crazy one, that you're the problem. And the sixth lesson I learned about this type of behavior is that they play the victim, or they will play dumb. When confronted, this is their defense. They become like a possum. It's a manipulation tactic. They will pretend like they have no idea how what they did actually could have hurt you. They ignore or break boundaries, and they want to just exasperate you so much that you will give up. You'll give in. Maybe it's a friend who says, I didn't mean it that way, every time they hurt you. How a people pleaser responds is many times by the end of the conversation, you're the one apologizing, right? You're the one taking the blame. You're thinking that it's your fault. I would over-explain and repeat myself, thinking if I just said it the right way, that he would finally get it. I comforted him. There were many times toward the end, I didn't know it was the end of our marriage, but toward the end, where he would be curled up in the fetal position because of a reaction that he was having to something that he was blaming me for doing that was not true. I would end up comforting him because I didn't know what was happening. And the original issue never gets resolved. A healthy person takes accountability for their actions, for their words. They take time to try and understand what you're telling them. They stay in the conversation. They don't deflect or defend or flip the script back on you. A healthy person can say, "I'm so sorry I hurt you," and not make it about them. The final two lessons I'm going to share with you are about me and my healing, not about another person and their toxic behavior. The first is that I learned that my behaviors were a target. I felt so deceived and so stupid for falling for this trap, and I had a lot of shame around what had happened. Again, this was my third marriage. But what I had to come to realize was that this wasn't about me being dumb. It was about me being targeted. This behavior is very purposeful. It's a deliberate tactic. It's not accidental. But people pleasers are great targets for this type of covert narcissism. And that's one reason for making this video, is to help you understand that this person, this covert narcissist, can come in many different forms. And if you have spent your life putting other people first, putting yourself on the back burner, then you are a target. Your behavior is a target for this type of person. But realize that you're not stupid. You're not naive. It's your behaviors that are serving the other person. The eighth lesson was the biggest of all. This was the deepest and most empowering realization, and here's why. This was my third marriage, and it ended explosively with him storming out in a rage on New Year's Day, blaming me for having an affair. I went no contact immediately as soon as I figured out that that was a thing. I started going to Codependence Anonymous the following week. This was the brick to the head moment that I needed to realize that I was the common denominator in all of my relationships, not just with him, but with all the relationships in my life. Friends, bosses, coworkers, family members, you name it. I'm the common denominator. You're the common denominator in all of your relationships. So I had to figure out, what was I doing that was causing, that was attracting this type of behavior into my life? This wasn't the first relationship like this, but it was the worst. And the lesson, the ultimate lesson, was that I was trying to earn love and acceptance because I didn't think I deserved it. And this experience was what I needed to start finding that for myself, within myself. I know it sounds weird, but I'm actually grateful for this relationship with the narcissist because it opened my eyes to the pattern I had lived my whole life of trying to earn love. If you feel like you're trying to earn love, respect, and acceptance, I would love to support you inside the inner circle right here on YouTube. That's where my deeper dive videos are, with exercises and tools to help you gain self-awareness. Because without self-awareness, without the self-awareness that I got, I would have never been able to change my life. Without seeing what the patterns are, we cannot change. Inner Circle is only $6 a month. Join for a month, join for a year. It's all up to you. You can click the join button below this video for more information. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.